I am Jim Collison, and this is the CliftonStrengths Podcast Season 3, recorded on March 15th, 2024. In this CliftonStrengths podcast series, we'll look at how to feel more energized and motivated at work, one theme at a time, and today's theme is significance. If you're listening live, we'd love to have you join us in our chat room. If you're listening after the fact and you have questions, you can always send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jaclynn Robinson is our host today. She works as a senior learning and development consultant. Join me for season 1 and 2 of the CliftonStrengths podcast. If you haven't listened to those yet, go back and do that later after you're done finishing this one. Where we looked at well-being at work and our CliftonStrengths role-based reports, respectively. Jaclynn, it was great to be with you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Jaclynn, today we're talking about bringing energy to work with our themes. And today, as we look at significance, I'm going to start with the individual first. What are some ways an individual with significance can feel more energized by focusing on their basic needs?
I'd say consider scheduling your day based on what is the most important or critical task to your team or to your clients. That way, by the end of the day, when you're reflecting on what you've done, you have some pretty proud-worthy to-dos that you can then reflect back on.
For significance, tease out a little bit more about, you said importance. What's important in your day? What does that mean? Kind of build that out a little bit.
Importance equals impact, so to speak. So where am I creating the most impact? And not just impact, but if you're an individual contributor, there's that piece where you've still got to devote yourself to what's critical for the team. And so you're kind of balancing both to say, I want to make sure I'm leading my day with impact. Maybe one way is to check in and see what's most critical for my team, because that's also a level of impact. If you don't do it, that's going to impact the team in a bad way. If you do it, it could impact the team in a great way. Or it might be a deadline. And so that's going to help you also sort between what that workday looks like. And hopefully it's, those deadlines that you have day to day are still focused around responsibilities that you love, that feel like they're creating impact for you.
So for those with high significance, what do you think the importance of putting yourself in a position to be able to have that kind of impact? I think
it's big.
Talk a little bit about that. What do you think? Because I think we have to intentionally, if we're thinking about our own basic needs, sometimes it's not just going to happen. We have to look for or find ways into that, right? I don't know. Talk a little bit. What does that mean to you, or what does that say?
It's a great point. It's a great point, because those with significance high, whether you're an individual or a manager, you want to be able to create some form of positive impact or legacy for others. And typically what I've found in coaching is when you can lead others, it feels even better or more significant, because now you've got a lot of people that can aim towards that impact that you see, or that legacy that you want to leave behind. So as an individual contributor, maybe you're an informal team lead, and you're guiding others towards a direction, or you're a formal team leader, or people see you as a credible resource that they can come to because you've created so much impact in that particular area. So I think that is really important to be an individual contributor, manager. Actually, I'll just say individual contributor with this theme. And maybe you're not guiding anyone and you're not able to highlight your credibility or shine light on something that you've done that has created significant impact. It can feel pretty unsettling typically. Yeah.
I think we have to intentionally think through some of those ways where those opportunities are available. That doesn't always happen just on its own, I guess is what I'm saying. In my experience, you have to be intentional about it, of saying, no, I'm going to set myself up, or I'm going to join these things, or I'm going to be in this kind of situation, or I'm going to take this kind of job where the propensity for those things to happen may be higher than other places.
Completely agree.
We often think, I think folks with high self-assurance thinks that just happens automatically. And like with all the other themes, no, it doesn't. I think it's one of those things we have to be intentional about. and put
Mm-hmm.
ourselves in the right position for. What are some ways an individual with significance can feel more energized by focusing on their individual strengths and development?
Plan regular reflections or at least take note of where you're receiving recognition and feedback for doing great work or making a valuable contribution. And then consider, hey, which of those areas do you want to spend more time in? And what are some ways that you can start to, or I won't say start to, but what are some ways you can continue to craft your skill in that area? Or what are some projects related to the work you've received recognition for that you can play a larger role in? So it
Mhm.
almost goes back to even what you said, Jim, about sometimes you have to find those opportunities more intentionally in the
Yeah,
workplace.
yeah.
Self-reflection is a good place to do that too, to go, ooh, yeah, where have I received that good feedback, that juicy feedback?
Mhm. Yeah, we use that question a lot of what have I done in the past where it's been successful, and deconstruct that and then say,
Hmm.
"Okay, where was I? What was I what talents were was I using?" But I
Yeah.
think the next question is what was the environment like too?
Hmm.
What else was happening around me at that time that allowed some of those things to happen? I think it's a multi-dimensional question. It's great to get to what was I doing, but also
Hmm.
what are the opportunities that were around me?
Hmm.
Can I recreate those? Can I deepen the opportunities by being in the right place at the right time, or at least trying to be, as opposed to just letting
Yeah.
life happen at that point? What are some ways an individual with significance can feel more energized by building partnerships and finding purpose in this role? This is really the me to we question on this. What do you think about that?
Yes. Working with credible partners who respect the contributions you make and also want to do purposeful and impactful work, that can be really energizing to you. Especially when everyone is working in a role that plays to their strengths and expertise, because that
Mm,
allows you all to really operate or lead the helm in your respective areas. And I see this theme as one that offers a lot of recognition. It certainly feeds my positivity that loves recognition and recognizing people. So within that regard, I can also see this person with significance recognizing those folks that are on the team for the
mhm.
impact they're creating or the great work or their value in the expertise that they're offering and bringing to the table.
I've actually had high significance, recognize me better than I could ever recognize myself, you know?
Yes.
And you're like,
Yeah.
Wow, wow." Like, I
It's
had
so
no idea.
good.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's
Isn't
like
it? And
communication and positivity together when they deliver it because it's delivered so beautifully and thoughtfully.
yeah, I mean, talk about finding purpose, right?
Hmm.
There are times I found purpose in recognition that I didn't even know existed because someone
Yeah.
else with high significance said, "Hey, do you know what you're doing there? Do you have any idea what you're doing there?" Right? The
Yeah.
impact that you're having, to go back to that. Again, we're gonna talk about the manager here in a second, not necessarily always a manager role. Like, that's
Hmm.
I like to separate that to say, no, there are times in relationships, high significance friends, where when you see it, say it to the other person, right? And say, "Do you have
Yes.
any idea what you're doing there?" Because oftentimes they don't. They don't know. They don't know, or they need to hear it from somebody else, right? And I think that's this area of significance. You've got this amazing superpower to see it and then say it, and change somebody's life, change
Hmm.
the direction of someone's life, like, in a meaningful way. That's not cheesy, like, high woo, who's maybe just making up stuff to get people to move, right? I'm not saying all woo is that way, maybe turning the finger on
Uh,
myself with that one, but right
you
in a
outed yourself, huh?
I did. I totally did. Yeah, I totally did. But in a way that matters, right? That is significant. So, a little bit of responsibility there for those. Let's talk about the manager. How can a manager with significance support others with their basic needs?
Ooh. Well, this is one of those great themes. When I think about engagement in the workplace and what draws people to the workplace, we know learning and development's one. Creating impact and not just collecting a paycheck but having purpose is another. I think this is one of those themes that does that superbly, because when it comes to the basic needs of the team and the individual team members, someone high in significance as a manager can help highlight why they're doing something. This is the work that we're doing as a team or you're doing as an individual. And this is the impact that you're creating every day or as a result of this project or, this particular responsibility I've got you all working on.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have visibility to it as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
You have visibility to that, and don't miss on that opportunity. That doesn't happen in every situation. As a manager, you've got that. And so a
Yeah.
great opportunity to both recognize and, professionally develop or, there's another word I was looking for in there, I would just say develop them in
Mm-hmm.
a way through the whether you call it recognition. Sometimes we think that is a little bit of a party kind of thing, but that can be done in a way recognizing someone just, "Hey, I saw you did this. Great job." Right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to necessarily be a public, "Hey, everybody." Right? That significant moment, in the conversation with them. How can a manager with significance help others feel seen, heard, and valued as an individual? I think we've been talking a
Ooh,
little bit about this,
yes.
but spend a little more time talking about it.
Yeah, and I'll thread it in a couple of ways too,
Yeah.
because I think one way significance can show value and care to others, whether it's their team member as an individual or the team itself. If there's a hindrance to this group's ability to do their work and create impact, this is the type of manager with this, when you have this theme that can flag it and be the advocate for their team and take it to leadership to say, as a result of not having these particular resources or as a result of this hindrance, this is the type of impact it's creating, not just on our team, but on the customer or other teams. So I think that's one thing that this manager can do really well to show that they care and they want their team members to feel seen, heard, and valued.
Mhm.
The other end of that spectrum is just calling out when they see them do something with excellence,
Mhm.
or maybe they led a team meeting or a workplace meeting and they delivered the messaging with such credibility and expertise, and there were a lot of aha moments and insights in the room. And so the
Mm.
manager goes back to say, "Oh, I love that you did this. And when you called out this particular, outcome or subject, you got everyone excited." So threading that back in to say, this is the way that you influenced and impacted other people. I think we also see that just in some of those successes or key responsibilities people have, where they can go back and say, "Hey, I saw that you did that," or "I heard that you did that," or "I
Mhm.
received a customer success story and I wanted to share it with you because this is the type of impact you're creating."
Mhm.
So, quite a few ways that we might see this threaded through to show
Yeah.
that sense of feeling seen, heard, and cared about.
The word that came to mind as you were saying those things was intra-team impact. In other words, having I
Ooh.
think sometimes we think of it like outside of the team, but also, not this is not either or, this is both and. The
Mhm.
intra-team impact it can have to inspire others. We're gonna talk about this.
Mhm.
Let me just ask this question. How can a manager with this theme build trust? And maybe this is what I'm talking about. Inspire and deepen team
Yeah.
collaboration that happens in an intra-team setup, right? Yes, the work
Yes.
they're doing has high impact, but what are some of the relationship things that are happening right on the team that can also be called out and shine the light on the effectiveness of the team?
I
Jaclyn,
like that.
what else? What else would you add to that?
I really like what you just said. Um, and it reminds me too, sometimes, you'll have those team meetings and there's one team member that has identified something that could be done even better based on feedback they're receiving from the customers or the clients. And this is again, this manager I can see inviting in that type of feedback to say, "Oh, there's more we can be doing to inspire others." And it's inspiring when you actually have a manager that's listening to your feedback and the ways that you can create impact in itself. So it's yep, certainly a reflection of the customer and the client, because that manager might say, "Oh, you're right. I'm glad that you caught that information. Well done." Which also inspires the team member that goes, "Oh, yeah, okay." I'm being recognized for finding a way to create more value.
You said 2 words that just like shouted out to me, actually, the two words are actually listening. Right. You have a manager or an individual who is
Yeah.
actually listening. And I think this is the key to that. Or whatever that is, you could say actually observing or actually measuring or, those kinds of things, paying attention where you don't get these things don't just naturally pop up.
Hmm.
Someone has to be paying attention to what's going on. And I think this high significance can use those things as fuel for their theme. Like,
Yeah.
guys, this is the jet fuel. This is the rocket fuel that shoots you into space, so to speak. I was watching SpaceX launch just yesterday, their heavy whatever it is, the one that's gonna go to Mars. And I was thinking of they have like 17 engines or something
Oh my
on that
gosh.
rocket. Yeah, and they somehow control them. Think about the power of that, and I think
Wow.
this is what we're talking about, these opportunities, these paying attention to what's going on with people. Now,
Hmm.
managers, we're talking to you, right, at this point. Paying attention to what's going on with your people, that look for those opportunities to then redirect that impact back into the roles of those people and recognize them, maybe small, not, not small r, but to recognize them in a way, whether it's publicly or personally. That's that just I mean, that's rocket fuel for them. Anyways, sorry. I got super
Absolutely.
excited about that.
It's inspiring.
It is. And it listen, it's a responsibility. I think that's as I've
Yeah.
learned about how to be a manager or how to manage people. It's hard to do. It's a hard thing to do. I think those friends with high significance, I think you got the ability maybe to do it better than others in some ways.
Hmm.
And have that power to do that, inspire people, right? To do great things, not just yourself, but others to do great things. Let's
Hmm.
wrap it with this question: how can a manager with significance support the growth of each team member, which is equally important? Right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Going back to actively listening, I think it's actively listening to the individual to better understand what type of impact or legacy of your own do you want to leave behind.
Mhm.
And let's make sure that we're carving out that path for you and putting the right continuing education opportunities in place or mentorship in place with credible people that can continue to build your expertise in that particular area. I think someone high in significance is really good about not dismissing what someone wants to do and the impact they really feel they can create. And we can even change out the word impact for contributions that this person really wants to make.
Yeah.
And then to say, yeah, let's think about your own, let's think about your own career path then within that particular regard. And I'm here to support you along the way and recognize you as I see those milestones achieved or we're receiving feedback from other people about, your results.
What you just taught me and what you just said is, let that legacy not be the end goal, but the process of pouring into other people to inspire them to do great
Hmm.
things. That's what I heard in what you said, right?
Yes,
It's the
it's good.
journey, not the destination. The legacy
Yes, it's where we
is
spend
the
most of our
journey.
time.
Yeah, and not the destination.
Whether we like it or not, that
That's
journey is longer than the destination.
yeah, yeah. No, love it. I think I just learned that. Jaclyn, let's wrap the theme. Any final thoughts as we put a bow here on significance?
Sure, and it's probably an extension of the growth piece we just talked about, but um, tuning in and remaining curious of what your team members' interests are and their own personal or professional legacy, and how you can be that champion for them if it's in their personal realm, or coach for them if it's in the professional realm, to be there as their thought partner and celebration station, where you're recognizing them along the way. But I think this is one of those themes that can do it really well to say, what gives you energy? What's the legacy you want to leave behind for your family or your community or your professional life? And how can I get behind you?
Mm. Well said with that. Speaking of legacy, we'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we do, a legacy of resources we have available for you in Gallup Access. Or you can head out to gallup.com and if you just hit the search button and put in significance. It'll bring back a bunch of things that we've done in the past on this, and maybe some past learning for future results. I'd love to have you do those as well. For coaching, master coaching, if you want to become a Gallup certified strengths coach, we can help you with that. Send us an email, coaching@gallup.com, and somebody get right back to you. We want to have you join us for the 2024 Gallup at Work Summit, but chances are by the time you're listening to this in the podcast, it might already be over.
It's over.
And that's okay. We'll have something else for you. Head out to gallupatwork.com. And I bet something for 2025 is already on the books. I hear them talking about that all the time. So I think we'll have something fresh for you there. Stay up to date on all our future webcasts by joining our Facebook or LinkedIn groups. You can find us anywhere in social by searching Clifton Strengths. If you enjoyed it, share it, like it, hit the subscribe button, whatever you need to do, just do it. And we appreciate you doing that as well. It's especially important when you share it. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for listening today. If you joined us live, stay around for a little bit of a post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.